Okay, so we can start now. So good morning, one and all. Uh, Today now start with our next sub module of our database system, database modeling, that is your transactions and concurrency control, right? So let's start. Before that, coming up and proceeding to the transaction topic, let's first understand what the term transaction means, right? So we'll try to first understand this transaction, right? So far we have seen normalization, right? So we have seen SQL, structured query language, and the prior topics, relational algebra and all those, right? So let's understand about transaction now. Let me, okay. So understand what actually happens in as a part of database. Right now, what we have seen about our database design part, right? So in database design, we have understood how we perform, how we make ER model, how we make, our database turn in from ER model to a relational model, right? How we perform the queries and all those. So till now we have seen our database design, right? But now design part is not sufficient to be, the database to function properly. But important part is after design is your maintenance part. Your maintenance part is important, right? You need to maintain this part, right? Our database maintenance is very important. Maintenance, by what I mean, will understand in this transactions and concurrency control, right? You need to keep maintain your database, right? So there should not be any conflict in the database, right? Your database should run smoothly without any error, right? So there are different maintenance control systems that generally keep track of your database transactions, queries, whatever being done in the database, right? So your transaction is basically what we are going to read in understand in a part of your database maintenance now, right? Okay, let me, so understand one thing. I might be going through some of your topics like operating system and although just as a quick revision, because you will be better able to understand with the help of that, right? Okay, so what happens, right? So what generally happens in database, okay, before that, try to understand. See, uh, what happens is when we talk about the transaction, before that, try to understand about the terms which are already familiar. For example, what is the process, right? And what is a program, right? So try to understand these two terms before that. Program is basically what? It's a set of instructions, right? For example, we have a program, right? In the program we have certain set of instruction, I1, I2, I3, and so on, let's say till I100. We have 100 set of instructions, right? So we execute the instruction and we say that it is a program, right? So any a process is what? Any program in the execution, we say it as a process, right? So understand now, inside the instruction, what are the instruction? I'm just talking about that, right? For example, as per your operating system, right? So understand, we different programs as different processes are being created. We already know from the concept of your operating system, right? So every point of time in thousand lakhs of processes, every moment of time are being created and being destroyed, right? So understand now in the program, right? We talk about the instruction, right? So in the instruction, actually, as a part of your operating system, let's say out of 100 instructions, we have executed, let's say 80 instruction. Rest of the 20 instructions we fail to execute. Probably there might be some error, or there might be some conflict in the operating system, due to which we have executed our 80 instructions successfully, but 20 instruction, the last one, we failed to execute, right? So probably the designer of your operating system, or say the software whose program is being executed, right? So he or she might be implemented what actually has to be done once there is interruption in between the program. Let's say 80 instructions are executed, and then what next step has to be done. Probably this might be already designed by your operating system, or say the program developer, right? But as a part of operating system, just think of, if 80 instructions are executed, 20 are not executed, there is nothing wrong, right? So it will say that, okay, fine, at least 80 instructions are executed, right? Program is has done some work over this one, right? So in some software on the operating system, there is completely okay and fine with your this 80 instructions execution. There is nothing wrong if we are not able to execute our rest of the 20 instruction, right? But understand now, when we talk about the database, in the database also there will be different instructions will be executed. We'll show you when we write a structure query language, how this structure query language is transformed into transaction instructions, right? We'll see that. So understand now, but before that, okay, let's now try to understand about a single instruction, right? See, in complete program execution, 80 instructions are executed, means complete execution was not done. Incomplete execution of instruction in a program, we talk about operating system is accepted, there is nothing wrong. Yeah, right. So we'll work that. But now let's go more inside in this program, that is about the instruction. For example, our instruction was something like int a equals to 0, means creating a variable a and storing the value 0 over here, right? So if you remember about your computer architecture, right? So how these instructions are being executed, these are not executed in a single phase, right? So we have 4 different phases in which instructions are being executed, right? First we um, fetch the instruction, we execute the instruction like in that way, right? So before that we decode, right? We fetch, right? We fetch, we decode, we execute, and then we write back. So in 4 stages, 4 step, your entire instructions are being executed, right? So understand now, as a part of this one, right? If we will study more in the computer organization, there we used to say that instructions are atomic, right? For example, we create a variable a, we cannot say that we forget to store the value a, right? So this complete instruction will be executed if it is executed, right? With the help of these 4 stages, right? So we'll see that in depth over there. So in program, we talk about instructions are atomic. We have understood that, right? So means instruction will and how be either it will be executed or it will not be. But when I talk about the complete whole program as a part of instruction out of 100 instructions, right? In operating system, incomplete instructions will work fine. There is nothing wrong, right? But understand, when we talk about these program, when this such program, or say when these programs in execution will create the process, right? And process, you can understand that doing some process is just like performing some transaction in a database system. Specifically, I'm just talking about, for example, just try to understand, let's say there is a user, right? There is a we have a user in which the user want to send some amount from account A to account B. Let's say transfer some amount. User A wants to transfer, let's say, 1,000 pounds from account A to account B, right? So according to the user, understand, according to the user, we cannot say that during transfer of amount from let's say account A to account B, we need to involve 100 instructions, right? So we cannot say to the user that around 80 at instruction 80, right? Let's say 1,000 pound was deducted from account A, but it failed to reflect the changes, or it failed to store the 1,000 in account B. Somewhere it was just left in between about it, right? So we cannot say to the user that we have completed 80 instruction, we failed to execute rest of the 20 instructions, and we are not able to actually reflect the amount in your account B. According to the user, right? It is one task, right? It is one transaction. Means the user wants the amount should be transferred from account A to account B. That's it. User is not dealing with your how many instruction in the background you executed to transfer this amount, right? For user also, this process is atomic. Either you transfer the amount or you don't. Understood? Right. So this is what the transaction for the user, right? We have performed a transaction, right? So this transaction should be atomic. Either you should execute the transaction or you are not executing at all, right? So transaction basically, see what we actually done is we have done a work over here, right? This is what a logical work. We have transferred amount from account A to account B, right? So transaction, we can formulate a definition over here. What is the transaction? Transaction is basically, it's a logical related operations, right? So we have perform operations over here to perform some unit of work, for example, some unit of work, right? To perform this logically related operation. So what are these operations? We'll understand when we talk about the transaction. There can be a lot of operation, but in basic we talk about two operations. The first operation is your read operation, and the second is your write operation, right? So we have basically these two logical operations that we consider, we perform over some database as a part of transaction, right? So this is what actually we have performed some tasks. For example, we have what we have actually done over here. For example, see, to perform this complete transaction, to perform this transfer, first what we will do, we will read from, let's say, account A, right? So we'll read from account A. It what it does is, for example, initially before transferring amount, let's say we have 5,000 pounds in account A, some amount is there, right? So but now what we'll do, we will perform write operation, right? See what this write operation contains is, from account A we are deducting 1,000. This is what the write operation, right? So now after performing the write operation, what is the amount we are left is 4,000 pound in the account, right? Now what we have done, we have taken out the money from account A. Now we will read what is the amount in account B, right? So now let's say in B we have 2,000 pound so far, right? Now we will perform write operation in B. That is what in B we are going to add 1,000 that is deducted from account A. So after this, what is the amount we have? 3,000 pounds. And once it is done, there is something called as commit. We will understand what is that commit means, right? Commit and rollback on those. So with this one, commit, for now understand, commit means finally we have reflected the changes in the database, right? So this is what the transfer operation is, right? So we have started from account A, started reading, and then in the account B we have performed the transaction operation over here, right? So in this way we perform two basic operations. See, we have done a work, started from account A to account B, we have transferred 1,000. So logically related operations, these are what operations done over here, right? To perform some unit of work, we have performed the unit of work, we have transferred amount from A to B. So this is called your what? Transaction, right? So formal definition we can say about the transaction, what actually the transaction is, right? So remember, understand, this transaction is what say generally represent, we represent the transaction, right, to change the database, or say change in the database, right? This is we say what actually inside about your transaction, right? We are performing a change in database. Initially in the database it was 5,000, right? And after changing the some values over the database, we got the value A 4,000, right? For B it was 2,000 and now it is 3,000, right? So we perform a transaction, we actually manipulated or say change the values in the database, but it should be consistent. We'll see that, right? So transaction, either it's complete or it is not done at all, right? So I hope you have understood, you got an idea what actually the transaction is, right? These are the two basic operations that we perform, right? So okay, so if you have understood so far, then we can move ahead now. Understand now. um, Next what we can do is, let me just take you these 2 points: operations, what is read, and second, what is write operation. Right, so understand what is read operation. These points are very important in the, we will be frequently using these terms. See, read, we perform the read over some database. For example, read A, we want to read the value from the database, right? Understand what generally happens in read. This is your memory, that is secondary memory. The data, if you remember about your operating system, the data is stored in your secondary storage, hard disk, you can say. Right, this is my disk, or say the database where the database file is kept. Right, we perform the read operation. What actually happens? See, first we find the block which consists of data item A in the main memory, in the disk, sorry, right? We find where is this block A is there, right? Transfer the block to main memory now. This is what our main memory. If you remember, main memory means either you can say RAM, right? So basically we are taking the file from hard disk to the RAM, right? So take this block, for example, this is block A, and take this block A over here now, and allocate some memory in the RAM. Right, now find the address of the data item A in the main memory. In the main memory also, we know we access the values with base of your addresses. So find the address of this data item A in the main memory block and copy the value of A in the program variable. For example, there is some program variable with variable T, right? We copy the value, we perform some action over here, right? So we are using this value with the help of some temporary program variable T, right? So this is just read operation. Understand, read basically means we are getting the value from the RAM over here. We are performing whatever value we have actually in the RAM. This is what the read operation, right? So read, in the layman, you can say that we are basically see, we are not reading the value from the disk, we are reading the value from over here. We perform the read operation, we are loading that value to the RAM now, right now, right? So now whatever value we have in the RAM, we are reading that value, right? So we have transferred this block first to the RAM, and then we are performing the read operation, right? What is then write? Again, we perform the write over some database, right? See, in the write, for example, A, modification of data item A value in the database file. This is what we do in the write A, right? So for that, obviously we need to find the disk, okay, say find the block which consists of its data item. We need to find where is the, right? Then we transfer into main memory. This is what actually we do uh, in the read also, right? So we transfer the main memory. Now we perform operation in the main memory. Understand, in the main memory we have block A, right? For writing A, we perform some operation over here. Let's say we update this value. Initially it was A equals to 10, now we have updated to A equals to 20. We have performed some operation, right, in the main memory, that is in the RAM, right? So once it is done, we have updated the value of in the main memory block. Now replace the modified block of main memory into your database, right? So we have this RAM, sorry, this disk, right, from where we took the value of A. Now perform this changes in the disk file. So write A is basically what we are performing some changing in the disk file over here, right? So these are read basically means you are reading the value from the RAM, and write A means we are performing the changes to the database file, right? So this is DB file, database file actually. Right. So these are two read and write operations. Understand, read and write are basically input output instructions, right? Example, understand now. If you remember in the structure query language, we perform some updation, right? We are performing some updation. For that, we can write a query, right? For example, we want to update account with balance. For example, balance equals to balance plus 1000, right? Where where let's say CID, let's say some customer ID is 101. Let's say this is some query over there, right? So how we write this in as a part of transaction? See, first we will read, right? We are going to read the balance of customer, which one? 101, right? First we will read what is the current balance in the customer's account. Then we perform the updation operation, that is we'll write some values. For example, we want to update it to balance plus 1000, right? After performing this, we we write back, means whatever write we have done, updation we have done, will reflect back to over here, right? So we write balance of customer 101, and once we have done, right, we will commit. So this is what the transaction we have performed, and we say this transaction, let's say we will use this some acronym, say T1 for your transaction one, where we are performing the updation of your account balance, right? So now understand, if I not perform this read operation, instead of performing this read operation, means I am not first checking what is the balance. Directly I am performing the write operation. Directly I started from here, right? We say this as a blind write. Means blindly you are writing the values without knowing what's the current status, current balance of your account, right? So this is a blind write, right? So I hope you have understood so far right now. Okay, so now let's understand a few more small terms that we'll be using, right? And before starting to our asset properties, right? Okay, let me write over here. Understand now. Um, what we can do now is, okay, so see, let me do a diagram. We have database, right? Right. So I'm just talking about this data item A, B, C, and all those. Right. So read A, write A. Right. So understand now what are these. We have database, right? So understand this hierarchy. In the database, what we have files, right? Let's say we have file F1. Let's say we have file F2, F3. Right. Now in the file, we have different blocks. These files in this file, if you just understand how these files are in the data is stored in files in the form of tables, right? We have CSV file, we have TXT file. The data is stored in the form of table, that is structured data in the file, right? If we go again inside more design part of your files, we have different blocks, multiple blocks. Let's say B1, B2, B3. These are called your blocks, and we will see in indexing and file organization, these blocks are further split into records, R1, R2, and so on. These are called your records, right? So these are different. We will understand in depth about file organization. Let's say we have two blocks in which record R1, R2, R3, R4 are there. These are blocks, right? And inside this we have different records, right? So these records, these blocks, these file, and this database even complete, these are your what data items, right? So understand, whenever I say data item, probably this can be any of these, right? It depends on everything that we are using, right? So now understand first term, which is called your concurrent execution, right? So we perform read and write operation over the data items, right? And after performing read and write operation, we use different transaction. We say multiple transaction. For example, T1, T2, T3, and so on till Tn. We have various transaction in which we perform read and write operations. Yes or no? So now we'll understand the execution of this transaction, how we can do the execution of this transaction. One is called your concurrent execution, right? Understand simultaneous execution of two or more transaction over the database is called your concurrent execution, right? We have the simultaneous execution of your two or more. Basically, it should be two or more at least, right? Two or more transaction over some database. That is called your concurrent execution, right? What is the degree of concurrency? There is other term come, that is degree of concurrency. Basically, degree means there is a number, the number of users who can use your database simultaneously. That is called your degree of concurrency, right? So understand, let's talk about your flight system, right? Flight database, airline database, right? So at a single point of time, let's say if there is a Air India flight, for example, right? Or you can say British Airways. So what actually happened? The British Airways has a complete data set, their flight, customer data set, their flight database actually, right? So at the same point of time, at one moment, there can be a number of the users who might be accessing the database, right? So at the same point of time, how many users are being using your database? That is called your degree of concurrency. Concurrency means simultaneous, at same point of time there are multiple users, multiple transactions are being performed, right? So this is called a degree of concurrency, right? But definitely we will understand the rest of the coming topics. This concurrency creates some problem in the database, inconsistency it creates inside the database, right? So we need to take care of that part, right? So and who is going to take care of that is called your concurrency control, right? We'll see actually concurrency control is a method to avoid inconsistency because of concurrent execution, right? So it avoids what inconsistency because of concurrent execution of your over your database, right? So these are what just the terms over here. In depth we'll understand once we'll forward in a move in our topic, right? So understand one thing over here, why I have just included all this now. Understand in the very beginning we are talking about your flat file system and the traditional file system and your database system, right? So understand the flat file system, or we say operating file, OS file system, basically it implement concurrency. We implement concurrency in flat file system over file level. File level means over here. So in traditionally in the previous database, we perform the concurrency over this file level, right? So entire file is basically treated as a one resource. Complete set of file is treated as a one resource, right? Means what? At any time, one user can allow to update the file, right? That is what means. If single resource is there, then definitely only one user can perform some action over that file, right? So understand this is what the concurrency is decreasing due to this reason, right? So concurrency means what? Multiple simultaneous execution, simultaneous multiple users are using this file. But in traditional file system, we provide the concurrency over the file level. We can improve this concurrency if we if we perform the concurrency control over record level instead of file level, because the file contains multiple records And if you provide concurrency over record level, then definitely multiple users can use different records, means a single file, right? And that is what done in the database system. The database file system, basically concurrency control here we implement over the record level, right? Means one record treated as a one resource now, so many users obviously can update your file simultaneously, right? So for at record level, we get a more degree of concurrency over here, right? So this is a point that you should just keep in mind, right? So in database we have concurrency, all these things at record level, right? For example, in airline there is a one record for the airline going through one city. There is other record for airline going through different city. In this way we have different record of your airline system, different airline systems, right? So this is how we have the concurrent execution of your the transactions that we perform over the database, right? So I think you have your idea now what actually these things are, transactions and all. So let me see. Okay. Now if you have understood, right, so at least right now you have understood what actually the transaction is, set of instruction that we are performing over the database, right? And we are doing some logical work, right? Now let's see for any transaction, right? So it can be any transaction. This transaction should follow some rules, right? It's not like you can perform the transaction over the database, any transaction you can perform. No, every transaction should follow ACID property, ACID. ACID properties should be followed by any transaction, right? So understand in the database, right? So for example, this is our database. We are performing some transaction over database, right? This transaction should follow ACID property. Only then you can perform this over database. Our database is consistent, right? Consistent means our database is correct. There is nothing wrong with the database. But to keep this database consistent, right, we perform some transaction. This transaction should follow ACID property. If any transaction is following ACID property, then after performing the transaction over the database, we understood transaction basically means changing the values in the database, right? So once we perform the transaction over the database, if transaction is following ACID property, after performing the transaction, the database will also be consistent, right? So what's the wrong? There is nothing wrong with database, but there can be wrong with transaction if transaction is not following ACID property, right? So before transaction, database is consistent. It should be transaction consistent after performing the transactions also, right? And we will see now what are those ACID property that actually transaction should follow, right? So ACID property, we'll understand about this. These are the acronym, not the full. ACID stand for atomicity. C is for consistency. I for your isolation. And D for durability. Right. So we will understand now one by one. Okay. So first see the atomicity. I think we have seen this. Atomicity means either you execute or you do not execute at all, right? This is what atomic, right? So transactions are either, it will be, transactions will either be performed over the database or it will not be performed. Means execute all the operations of the transaction including commit statement, right? Or you execute nothing, you execute none of your operation by the transactions terminate, right? So atomicity means either you perform operation complete completely or not. Means atomic, you have to be atomic, whether you do or you will not do, right? So understand what actually happens over here. Let's take a same example. For example, we perform the read operation over here, right? Now we are changing some values. Let's say a equals to a minus some value 50. You perform the write operation, make the changes, right? Now you read the value a, and then you read the value of b and change the value of b to b plus 50, right? You write these changes and you commit. This is what a complete transaction that makes that take 50 from your a and add 50 to your b, right? Now understand, for example, over here, see, the value of a equals to, let's say, 100 was there initially in the database, right? Now to perform this operation, this task, this transaction, the transaction will read a. We have understood read a means from the, this is what disk, main physical memory. We will take out the value from your disk and it will store in the RAM. For example, a value is 100 now, right? Now we will subtract 50, so we are left with 50, right? Here a value equals to 50. Now we are reading the value. For example, b was having 200, right? We took the value of b, that is b equals to 200, into your main memory, right? So and then after then we are performing some operation, that's b equals to 250, right? So now here we have b equals to 250 and commit means finally you are making the change, you are 50 and this is 250, right? So this is complete operation that if successfully, either it will reach to the commit, right? Or understand after a reading value. For example, after at this stage, let's say at this stage we got some error over here, right? So we fail in this transaction. So up to this, what we have done, we have taken out 50 from a value. See, a value is present in your RAM over here. These values are present in RAM, not in the original database. So inside the RAM, we have subtracted the value 50 from here, but we have not updated. And in between, if we fail somewhere, then what we have to do, we have to undo the changes. You will undo the changes. That is what you will roll back. You need to roll back and you need to again add the value 50 to your a. And what means atomicity is there, either you reach to the commit, right? You make the changes in the database, or if you fail somewhere, then you need to go back and you need to undo the changes that you have done so far over here, right? So this is what your atomicity means. Transaction should be either reach to the commit state, or if not, then it should roll back whatever changes it has done in the date in this file, right? So this is what, and understand now who is going to take care of the, see, in the transaction, right? There are different components. See, management part, complete management cannot be done by a single component. So that's why for every component there is a different for everything, for every part of this one we have different components over here, right? So for atomicity, always remember, the atomicity take part, or say this atomicity is maintained by your something called as recovery management component. This atomicity is maintained by your recovery management component. Why recovery means, in this one, if we fail somewhere, we need to recover our values back to the changes that we have made, right? So atomicity is it's maintained by your recovery management component, right? So how it will do rollback, understand this term rollback, right? So a rollback, sometimes we say abort also, right? So we are aborting the operation that you have done, right? Means undo the modifications of database file which are done by the failure transaction. You are undo the operations modification that you have done, right? So understand now, this recovery management component, this recovery, how this recovery is being done. This recovery management component maintains a record, something called as transaction log. Transaction log. This is a kind of log file. It is being maintained, right? So understand now how it is keeping the values over here. I mean, how the recovery management component keeps the transaction log. Whenever the transaction begin, I'm talking about this one, let's say this is your T1 transaction, right? So first T1 transaction will begin, right? So in the log record, this everything will be maintained, what actually at what time, at what means every log information you can just think of, right? At what time, at what date, right? So what transaction was created in which database, what was the details of the customer, everything is maintained in this transaction log, right? So T1 begins, then in the T1 we perform what? After this we perform the read operation, read over a database, and we got the value, let's say 100, right? After then in the same transaction T, we perform the write operation over a database, initial value was 100 and then it changed to 50. See, every information is being stored in transaction log, right? After that same transaction did what? It read the value of B and it was found to be, let's say 200, right? Now T1 transaction did what? It performed the write operation over B. Initially the value was 200 and then it changed to 250, right? And then transaction T1 committed. See, this is what a complete record file is being maintained whenever we perform a transaction, right? So understand now, whenever this record file completely reaches to the T1, right? So we will understand two operations, which one is called undo and other is called redo, right? We'll understand in depth. Right now, understand, we perform the undo operation whenever there is a failure occur in the transaction. We need to perform undo operation. Undo operation does what is, whatever changes are being reflected, we are going to roll back. We are going to, you know, we are going to keep those original values, right? It means that we are going to have the same values before the transaction was started. We need to retain those values, right? This is done in undo operation. When we completely understand now, let's say we didn't fail and we have reached to the commit statement, right? In that case, we will perform redo operation. So what actually redo operation does is, once you have reached to the commit state, right? So this is what transaction log. This transaction log is maintain your RAM part only, RAM or sometimes cache memory, right? So why we use reusing this one RAM and cache, I will understand when we do the transaction state diagram. So understand right now in this cache memory and in this RAM memory, you are maintaining this transaction record. In transaction log, once you have reached to the commit state, so now you will perform redo operation. What redo operation does, whatever changes you have done in the transaction log, the changes are reflected in your original database. And where is original database? This is kept in your hard disk, secondary memory, hard disk or something like that. So you are performing this, you are reflecting the change in the original database once you have reached to the commit statement, and the operation that does this work is called your redo operation. So let's say once you have performed the redo operation, right? Now this transaction log will be completely deleted. There will be no existence for this transaction log. Understand, right? You cannot go back, you cannot do undo operation, you cannot roll back once you have performed the redo operation. Let me give you a real life example. For example, understand, you have, you have booked a flight, let's say from Delhi to some other, let's say from Delhi to Mumbai, right? You have booked a flight, right? Now understand, by mistake you have given your wrong surname, for example, by mistake, right? Now what you actually want, see, your ticket have been booked, now ticket is in your hands, right? but there is something wrong. The name is wrong, written, your name, right? So understand now, in the database, your information for this ticket is reflected over the database, right? For example, now you cannot revert back, you cannot go back in that transaction basically that you have made, and you cannot change the name, your name over there, right? Means once you have got the ticket, you cannot go back, and you cannot in the that particular transaction when it was done for the first time, you cannot go back, because that ticket, the transaction is already committed. What you can do is to compensate the transaction, compensate that change, you can regenerate a new transaction. Means you can again start a new transaction in which you are be going to modify your change your name. That is only, right? So that type of transaction is called a compensate transaction. Means you need to again restart a new transaction to make some changes in the ticket, right? So that is what means, once you have got the ticket, you cannot go back to that transaction, right? For that you need to compensate for a new transaction, you will start to have a new transaction. So once we have reached to the commit state, the reason is the record which was there, it was no longer existing in your database, right? So this is the what undo and redo operation we'll understand in depth after this one, right? So I hope this you have understood. Right? Either you perform the transaction completely, when you perform the complete transaction till commit statement, right? You make the changes in the original database with the help of redo operation, right? And transaction recovery management component keeps a transaction log, right? To recover the things. If there is something happens over there, right, in the between, then definitely we'll go to roll back, undo the changes, and transaction will be like it was not at all executed, right? So this is about your what the transaction when you talk about the atomicity property, right? So understand, we can start, I mean, transaction state diagram. Do you have another subject class now, or we can take 5 to 10 minutes? See, this is transaction state diagram. This will clear more about your what we have done so far. Transaction state. This is something similar to, if you remember, in operating system, you have process state diagram, right? How the process start from first the process will go to the ready queue, and then it will go to execution, then termination. In between it can go to abort state, right? So all those kind of similar. So understand now for one thing, transaction, right? Understand, see, this is very important and you should understand this. Transaction, whenever started to execute, its state change from passive to active state, right? See, whenever we have the transaction, right? So the moment when the state will change for the transaction, right? When the transaction is just started, right? Means we started the transaction. For example, we started from over here. Before this read operation, we didn't start the transaction. The state of the transaction was passive. But once we started the transaction, it changed its state from passive to active state, right? So understand one thing. See, and who is going to change the state? Definitely, we have the CPU. CPU is going to start initiating the transaction in your system. Definitely, this is the work which is taken care by the CPU, right? So we have the CPU, and now what it will do? Some, let's say we have this hard disk, right? So see, as for I am just saying about this commit statement, right? Probably you might not be understanding what this commit statement is. And we have seen read and write operations also, right? It will more clear about this concept. Now try to understand when we perform the commit statement, what actually happens. And we will understand this using transition state diagram. See, what happens so far we have seen about read operation and write operation, right? So we have seen when we perform the read operation from the hard disk, we are taking that particular block or say this data item to your RAM memory, right? And then we are performing the read operation. To perform the write operation, we change the in this block which is kept in the RAM and will take back to um, your hard disk from where we have got this value, right? So understand whenever CPU executes the transaction, you can have a question why we are actually taking the value from hard disk to the main memory, right? We cannot make changes to the hard disk directly. CPU cannot make change to the hard disk directly where there is original database file we have original database. You can have this question in mind why there is a role of this one. Understand whenever CPU executes some transaction, right? So it needs the data which is present in the hard disk. We already know that, right? But remember, CPU cannot directly make the changes in the hard disk. The reason is the speed of CPU is very high. We know, right? So CPU generally forms the MIPS instruction, if you remember, right? As a part of computer architecture means millions of instruction per second, MIPS instruction architecture, right? And hard disk speed is very slow. It is around 20 instruction or 20 to 25 instruction per second are being executed in the hard disk, right? So that's why being very low speed of your hard disk, CPU takes the data from the hard disk to the RAM or say the cache memory, RAM or sometimes the cache. We know the size falls down, the speed increases for your memory storage, right? So main memory or cache are generally very less in size and their speed is very high, right? So to make this speed match between your CPU and your main memory or hard disk, we take the data to their RAM part here, right? So in this way, we take the transaction to your active state. Whenever transaction initiated and it performed the read operation, understand, whenever transaction initiated and read operation is performed, read does what? It took the main memory, that it took the data from hard disk and placed in the main memory, right? So whenever just read started, we have changed the state of transaction from passive to active state, right? So understood this so far, why we are taking main memory over here, why not making change in the hard disk. CPU start the initiate the transaction and change your the state of your transaction from passive to active state, right? So okay, we'll understand this transaction state diagram in the next class, right? So and after then we will see, this is only the atomicity right now, right? So we have to take do rest of the consistency, isolation, durability also, right? So okay, fine. Probably we'll see continue in the next class, but definitely we need to increase our speed. We need to cover a lot of things, right? So just a quick revision because this is something that you need to, take care of, and you need to again go back. These are new things in the database of a, right? So we understood about the transaction. These are logically related operation to perform some unit of work, right? Where we have two operations that operations are read and a write operation, right? So we understood about instruction cannot be can means instructions must be atomic, right? We perform these using four stages we have seen in computer organization architecture, right? So transaction means basically we are changing in some data in the values in the database, right? We have seen an example over here. And yeah, we have seen all these terms, for example, concurrent execution, what is degree of concurrency, and your concurrency control, what actually it does over here, right? So we understood about read operation and write operation, right? So what actually it does, we have seen over here transaction, why CPU takes and how the states are being changed
Sir,
in the
can you please provide the attendance link of class is started?
yeah, I'm just going to right. And now and after then we have started this atomicity, right? So after this we will continue in our next class, right? Okay, just let me know if you in the next class, just let me know if you have not understood. We can repeat and then continue. Okay, so I'm just stop the recording now and attendance will be there.